Hello and welcome to this special live stream in which I show you how corrupt and evil Canada is, the entire Canadian government. You think Donald Trump just randomly said about making Canada the 51st state for no reason? No, there's a reason. Conservative Canadians like me, there's not many conservative Canadians, but there's some like me. We are sick and tired of Canada and all of the evil stuff that the Canadian government gets away with. Evil doctors, as you can see, they molest patients. This Indian Canadian doctor molested patients on the operating table while they were sedated under anesthesiology. And there were way more than just 21 patients he molested. And there were also little white girls. But the Canadian media, they always try to cover stuff up. And if they can't cover it up, then they will downplay what actually really happened. So, like for example, this is an example, this news article. This is a real news article. But I'm just going to also say, for example, let's say there was a police officer who murdered like 100 people. Well, Canada would turn around and say, oh, the police officer didn't murder 100 people. He, like, I don't know, unalived them. You know what I mean? So the government of Canada, the Canadian media, they're always lying. They're always covering up the truth, or they're distorting the truth. And so I'm about to show you 6 videos, actually more than 6 videos, that are on my channel. And when you see all these videos pieced together, you're going to start to realize how that evil Canada is and that these people need to be arrested. So we're going to start with the video in which a veterinary clinic euthanized my dog, they murdered my dog. I did not consent for them to euthanize my dog. Not this article. This one's a different matter, but I'll explain later how it's related, but it's a different matter. So not this doctor case, but this veterinary clinic, this woman and the people who work at this veterinary clinic, I found out after the fact that this woman, she's a mix. I think she's native mix of Spanish. Anyways, Latina. I think she's part Latina, part native. But anyways, she might even be part Chinese. There is a Chinese doctor that works at this veterinary clinic as well. And I'm going to show you this veterinary clinic. They murdered my dog. They tried to cover it up. I went in, I demanded the camera footage, and then they refused to show the camera footage. So I will go in now. It's going to be a little bit loud. So I'm just going to warn you, it might be a little bit loud, but I hope it's not too loud. Okay.
So why won't Dr. DeBoer show me the footage, so June 2nd, June 3rd, how my Penelope died, how my little Pomeranian died? But he's the lead doctor in charge right now, right? He's the only doctor in charge. Okay. All right. You've been served. I'm coming back for that footage. I will get a court order. As Lori Penley, the office manager, requested. She said, come back with a court order for the footage. Okay.
So that actually might not have been actually loud enough. Let me turn up the volume a little bit and replay that little loud. So I'll just play a partial of the video, but the whole video is on my YouTube channel, so you can go watch the full video. But so I can be able to explain everything that happened, just gonna show partial of the video for now. But the whole video is on my YouTube. So if anyone, it's there right now. So if anyone wants to see the full video, it's there as well. So let me just go back a little bit to the specific point that I want to.
So why won't Dr. DeBoer show me the footage, so June 2nd, June 3rd, how my Penelope died, how my little Pomeranian died? But he's the lead doctor in charge right now, right? He's the only doctor in charge. Okay. All right. You've been served. I'm coming back for that footage. I will get a court order. As Lori Penley, the office manager, requested. She said, come back with a court order for the footage. Okay.
Okay, so what was happening there was this veterinary clinic. They murdered my dog. They euthanized my dog. I had a Pomeranian. She was a beautiful Pomeranian. She loved everyone. This woman, The people who work at veterinary clinics, they don't like animals. They're actually animal abusers, and they euthanize dogs. Euthanization is murder. No animal, no dog will ever consent to being euthanized. The dogs do not want to die, and they would never consent to being euthanized. And these veterinarians, they're animal abusers. They murdered people's dogs. They murdered my dog. And my dog, there was nothing wrong with my dog. She was perfectly fine. Okay, my dog was a Pomeranian. She was really young, and there was nothing wrong with her. And they euthanized my dog, and even my mother. So my mother, like, brought my dog to these people, and my mother even said that they recommended to her to euthanize the dog, and I said to my mother, no. And my mother, like, insisted on maybe they should. I said no. They were not euthanize my dog. So, anyways, my mother is not animal friendly either, unfortunately. My mother just kind of uses dogs for. She doesn't really take, like, anyways. Okay, so I'm not. Anyways, so my mother basically, she listens to everything everyone tells her. So, like, my mother's the type of person that if the police come to the house and they want to illegally search the house, if they want to come in, if they want to, like, like you remember when that guy that got murdered in the news? Remember Trayvon Martin? Remember the Trayvon guy that got murdered? And then the Eric Gardner and all those people. My mother was like applauding the police. My mother said, "Oh, the police, they did a good job," So basically, my mother's a little bit corrupt as well. And my mother knew that this veterinary clinic was bad, but my mother didn't really care. But obviously, I love the dog. I love all the animals that I've had. I didn't have that many, but I had a lot. I met many of them, and so they murdered my dog. These people murdered my dog. They're psychopaths. They get off on euthanizing animals. And what happened was I went to court. And I originally, well, first, I originally sued these people. I sued them in civil court, and I wanted them. You see in the video, I was trying to get them to show the camera footage because the veterinary camera footage in the security room would show what they did to my dog. So, like, dogs just don't randomly die. And they tried saying the dog first. They tried saying the dog randomly died. Then after they admitted they euthanized the dog, then they said that. So they kept changing their story. The vet clinic. They also hired a big fancy law firm from Toronto. Well, I sued these people myself. Oh, and they also cyberbullied me, by the way. They cyberbullied me. They sent police after me. This woman falsely accused me of stalking her. I am a homosexual. I have never stalked a woman. When I went to this place, I served them a legal document. It even shows in the video that I was serving them legal documents. I was suing them, and I was demanding that they show the veterinary cam footage. And this homophobic, nasty woman turns around and she's tried telling the police I was stalking her. Why would I stalk? I am a homosexual. I don't like this woman. Why would I stalk her? I sued the vet clinic, and I had to even sue them myself because I couldn't afford to hire a big fancy law firm. I couldn't afford to hire a lawyer. I sued these people myself in small claims court. I didn't ask for, like, I was asking for enough money to cover the legal bills and to cover any other kind of bills like that. And then I was asking, I wasn't suing for much. In fact, it was small claims court. So you can only sue for so much in small claims court. And I literally I put down a number, and then what happened, like, I put down a number to cover what was necessary. I put down a necessary number. I'm not like one of those people, like, they tried to say I was a litigious. No, I wasn't suing for like 20 million. And I literally wasn't suing for money. Like, I literally went into the place and I said, I want you to show the camera footage. I want you to show the veterinary camera footage. I am demanding you show it because I know you murdered my dog. Dogs just don't randomly die at a vet clinic. I know you murdered my dog. And the fact you won't show the camera footage shows you're guilty. And I said this, and they said no. They said, if you want to get the footage, you have to come back with a court order. You said, what? Me asking for footage you should automatically show it. I should even have to ask 3 times. As soon as I ask for veterinary camera footage showing what you did to my dog, how you murdered my dog. As soon as I asked for that footage, the vet clinic should immediately show it. I shouldn't have to go then start a lawsuit, start a civil lawsuit, all that stuff. So I actually had to do all of this. I had to start the civil lawsuit because they were refusing to show the veterinary cam footage that show how they murdered my dog. And Lori Penley, as you see in the video that I mentioned Lori Penley. In the video, I mentioned Lori Penley. I mentioned the fact that she's the office manager. I talked to her. I demanded the footage, and I said, because I accused them of murdering my dog. I said, you guys murdered my dog. Dogs just don't randomly die. I want to see what you did to my dog in the veterinary ER room, in the emergency room. I want to see what you did to my dog because I know you murdered my dog. Lori Penley said, come back with a court order. She said, she said they're not releasing the footage. Lori Penley said, come back with a court order. So that's why and you could see, that's literally in the video. You could see that I had to do this whole lawsuit to try to get them to show the footage, the veterinary camera footage. And then they turned around after they had my case dismissed, my civil case dismissed. I wasn't even there for the civil case because they never served me that they were doing a notice to dismiss. So I was self-represented. You know how hard it is to file all the court papers yourself, small claims court. It's not easy to do small claims court, even just for a self-represented litigant. There's still even people who go to small claims court and even still have lawyers in small claims court. So it's not easy. So I had to do all this myself. I did small claims court, and I went in and I filed all the paperwork. I served them the documents, as you could see in the video. I served them the statement of claim, everything, the litigation hold, which was to make them hold the veterinary camera footage to show what they did to my dog. I served them all the legal stuff, and they turned around, hired a big fancy law firm. The lawyer for their side had my civil case dismissed. They didn't serve me or notify me that there was a notice to dismiss. So they filed a notice to dismiss. They filed like a civil motion to dismiss my claim. They were supposed to serve me a notice of dismissal so that I could go to the courtroom to the judge and defend and to prevent my case from being dismissed. Everyone has the right, and they were supposed to, by law, they were supposed to serve me the documents showing that they were trying to get my case dismissed from civil court. And if they had served me those documents, the legal documents, the motion to dismiss, if they had served me those documents, I could have gone to court and defended the matter and prevented the judge from dismissing the case. But what they did was they went ahead without me knowing, behind my back, without me knowing. They never served me. They're supposed to serve me by law. They never served me. So they committed fraud again. They went behind my back and they had my case dismissed in civil court, in small claims court. They had my case dismissed. I appealed it. I double appealed it. I triple appealed it. And then, as part of their legal strategy, they turn around and this woman accuses me of stalking her. And she calls the police. You can clearly see by this video, I had no romantic connection to this woman. This woman murdered my dog. This veterinary assistant and the doctor, they murdered my dog. I had no romantic connection to this woman. I wasn't stalking her. I'm a homosexual. I don't stalk women. And she turned around as part of their legal strategy. Not only did they have my case dismissed, which I didn't have to appeal, I double appealed it. I kept appealing it all the way I could. Then she turned around and falsely accused me of like stalking her and etc. When you could clearly see in the video, I wasn't stalking her. I sued them the court papers. I sued them the civil lawsuit. I said so many times, you're being sued. I'm suing you. I want to see the camera footage. I want to see what you did to my dog. You murdered my dog. So she had criminal charges put on me. This woman, this psychopath who just murdered my dog. Not only did she and the veterinarian, she's a veterinary assistant, and the veterinarian, not only did they murder my dog, but then she turned around and put false criminal charges on me. And that's why I had to then go to court, as you can see this by this. So now we'll watch this court video. And I spent 2 years in prison without a trial. This is a different matter. And I spent 2 years in prison without a trial. See how corrupt this judge is. Watch. See how corrupt they are, the Canada. Yeah, the charges were malicious because I spoke out against Justin Trudeau because he's a pedophile. And so then Justin Trudeau had the police put me in prison for 2 years, and they beat me in prison for 2 years and tortured me in Canadian prison. So since Trump has been elected, he's going to have Justin Trudeau arrested for being a pedophile and he did blackface also 3 times and lied about it. And he's going to have all you guys arrested as well for putting me in prison wrongfully for 2 years without a trial. By the way, without a trial, I was put in prison without a trial. So I would like to also be compensated for the 2 years that I was put wrongfully in prison without a trial. And also, I'd like all you guys arrested as well for being pedophiles, especially Justin Trudeau, who did blackface 3 times and lied about it. And Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, is also a pedophile.
I'm going to stop you there, sir. So just bear with us one moment. We don't need the information that we have in front of us. We do. There are a number of information before the court. So Mr. Crown just...
So let me just fast forward a little bit because it's so that we can...
Mr. Figliano, are you recording the proceedings?
Why would I be recording?
Are you recording us?
Are you recording the proceedings? Are you recording the? Why are you asking me that question? Are you recording the proceedings?
Sir, this is a common request that I make of every virtual participant. In fact, I'm just connecting to the virtual court through my personal laptop just to get a better view of you, so that you can see me better. And it'll say in the virtual background for the Ontario Court of Justice, it is a criminal offense to broadcast or record the proceedings. So I wanted to...
Oh, you don't want to be recorded because you're a liar. Well, why would you make me think I'm recording you anyways? What would give you that?
I'm not making you think anything, sir. I've just asked the question. I want to caution you so that it is a criminal offense.
Okay, well, thank you for cautioning me that you don't want to be recorded because you're a liar. Thank you for letting me know.
Mr. Figliano, sir, I'm not going to tolerate any more disrespect.
Disrespect, you don't want to be recorded because you're a liar. How is someone supposed to defend themselves when they can't record? They want it to be a he said, she said. They're a bunch of liars. This woman, she didn't want to be recorded either, you see? They're a bunch of liars. How am I supposed to prove that what happened if we can't record? How are we supposed to prove? How are we supposed to prove that she's a liar? She turns around and says I'm stalking her, but then they don't want to show the actual footage. And then I actually present the actual footage that clearly shows that I wasn't stalking her. I was suing her because she murdered my dog. They turn around and this woman says that I'm stalking her, which is not true. That's a lie. And she should be in prison forever for making such a lie. And then I turn around with actual video evidence proving I never stalked her. Video evidence, recordings proving that I sued these people because they murdered my dog, and I want them to show the camera footage. And the judge doesn't want to be recorded because she's a liar. She's a fat liar, and these people are liars, and that's why they don't want to be recorded. How am I expected to prove my innocence when this woman's accusing me of stalking her? How am I expected to prove my innocence if I'm not allowed to have recordings? I'm not allowed to record the proceedings. I'm not allowed to record the interactions. You see what liars these people are? Especially after I spent 2 years in prison without a trial. And then this woman finally admitted she lied about accusing me of stalking her. And then they finally admitted that they did euthanize my dog. They did murder my dog. They finally admitted to so much stuff. And then after 2 years of spending 2 years in prison, because this woman accused me of stalking her, when all my friends from high school know I'm a homosexual. Everyone who's ever known me knows I'm a homosexual. I don't stalk women. I'm a homosexual. I do not stalk women. Everyone knows this about me, that I am a homosexual. Everyone knows I'm gay. Even though I wasn't like super open about it all the time, like people ask me, I would say, oh, I don't feel comfortable answering that question. People like deep down knew. My friends, especially my close friends, they knew that I was, gay, right? Well, definitely some of my close friends who I even told as well. But I don't like screaming off the rooftops is what I'm saying. I'm not one of those people that screams it from the rooftops that I'm homosexual. But that, you see what I'm saying? How is anyone supposed to prove their innocence? And also, I'm the victim. My dog is the victim. They murdered my dog. This woman is the criminal. She and the veterinarian, they murdered my dog. And then they turn around and they don't want to be recorded. They don't want to show the veterinary camera footage showing what they did to my dog, that they murdered my dog. They don't want to show the video evidence. This judge doesn't want to see the video evidence. She doesn't want to be recorded. She doesn't want to show the video evidence. She just wants it to go on their word versus my word. The word of a judge. She does. The reason that this fat liar doesn't want the video evidence is because because she's guilty and she's corrupt and she doesn't want to be recorded because she's a liar. And she just wants it to be the word of me versus the word of a judge. Oh, it's the word of a judge, a very fat judge. It's a very fat native judge. It's the word of a judge. It's a judge's word. It's a judge's word for his word. Oh, it's the word of a veterinary assistant, as if these people are actually doctors. These people, they spend way less time in veterinary school, and they're incompetent. They're just as incompetent as real Canadian doctors are. The word of a veterinary assistant and the word of a veterinarian. Yeah, you see how corrupt these people are? They murdered my dog, and then they're refusing to show the video camera footage to show how they murdered my dog in the back room. And then when I demand the video camera footage, then they say, oh, get a court order. Come back with a court order. See, they're guilty. These people are guilty. Okay, this native Latina, she literally accused me of stalking her. I'm a homosexual. I don't stalk women. Okay, I have a type. And it's guys, it's men, tall men. Like, tall men is my type. I don't stalk Latina native women who are, like, this woman murdered my dog. I was repulsed by her. I can't even believe that not only did she murder my dog and the veterinarian murdered my dog, they euthanized my dog. They're psychopaths that like murdering animals. They're psychopaths that like euthanizing animals. Then they turned around, the audacity, as part of their legal strategy, because not only did they want to show the veterinary camera footage, but then they were trying to save their reputation by accusing me of being some stalker, as if I stalk women. And then when my friends from high school all found out about this case, they're like, he would never stalk a woman. This woman's a crazy bitch and she's a liar. And my friends from high school were disgusted by this woman. When I posted this on, like, certain sites, right, where they have where I can link up with high school people I knew from high school, my friends from high school. For example, one of my friends from high school, he now works as a mechanic. He's a mechanic, my friend, and he knows me very well. And he saw this video and he's like, what? She accused him of stalking her? Is this bitch out of her mind? He's a homosexual. Like, that guy is gay. And she accused him of, what a lying friggin' bitch. This woman belongs in prison. This woman, not only does she murder dogs because she's an animal abuser, this woman, and then the veterinarian, but then she lies and turns around and accuses me of stalking her. What a psychopath. What a lying sociopath. She belongs in prison. And this judge, who's clearly a liar, belongs in prison, which, by the way, the full videos are there. You could see the full videos. So I just showed, just so that I could explain the story, I showed like bits and pieces of the videos, but the full videos are there. All the videos are there. The full videos are there. Although, like I said, I was trying to get the veterinary cam footage to show what they did to my dog. They wouldn't release that. There was the body cam footage, and when the police beat the crap out of me, they refused to release the body cam footage. So I'm the one trying to get the evidence. I'm the one trying to get the recordings. I'm the one making the recordings to prove that not only am I innocent, but I'm the victim, and these people are the guilty ones. For example, look at this Indian Canadian doctor. See, doctors, Canadian doctors, Canadian veterinarians are psychopaths. Canadian veterinarians are psychopaths that murder people's animals. And then Canadian doctors, like this Indian Canadian doctor, finally was convicted after 20 years of a hospital cover-up, was convicted of molesting little white girls. This Indian Canadian doctor was convicted of molesting little white girls that were unconscious, sedated on the operating table. And he gave them HIV. This Indian Canadian doctor is HIV positive. He was an anesthesiologist responsible for sedating patients on the operating table. Then, while the patients were unconscious, including little white girls, he molested them and gave them HIV. And then at first, all that happened after like 20 years of women complaining about it, 20 years of people complaining. Finally, they arrested him. But the hospital, even the Canadian news articles, if you search all the Canadian news articles about this case, Dr. George Dunot case, even the Canadian news articles admit that the Canadian hospital engaged in a major cover-up. The Indian nurses, like, the Indian nurse, well, this is a Latina native veterinarian, but like, for example, in this case, the Indian nurses, they defended the Indian doctor. They said, oh, they called the victims crazy. They called the little white girls crazy who said that they remembered something while they were unconscious. They remember the guy touching her. They called all these people crazy. So anyways, all the videos are there. It's on my channel. You can see for yourself that these people are liars. These Canadians need to be arrested immediately. And please check out these videos. Canada is a corrupt country. Clearly, Canada's corrupt if the doctors, the Indian Canadian doctors, are molesting little white girls on the operating table and then covering it up. And then they had the audacity to call the victims crazy. That's what they do. All of the real victims in Canada, they call them crazy. They said that the women made it up. They even tried saying that the women were litigious. No, they tried to say that the little white girls that were molested were litigious. What? Disgusting. These doctors, these Canadian doctors are disgusting. These Canadian, look, see? An Indian Canadian doctor finally convicted after 20 years of a hospital cover-up, convicted of molesting little white girls, molesting white women while they were on the operating table, sedated, unconscious. Okay? And then judges, the corrupt judges, defend the doctors. The corrupt judges, they defend the Indian doctors who are pedophiles. They defend the doctors. They defend the police who are bad as well. They defend the murderous veterinarians and the veterinary assistants. They defend the veterinarians and the veterinary assistants who abuse animals and euthanize animals. They offend the doctors, the Indian doctors who molest little white girls on the operating table. They're gangs. There's whole gangs of Indians. Indians have taken over Canada. The Indians, the Indian police, the Indian doctors, the Indian judges, and of course there's also other people as well that are corrupt. But there's a big portion of them are Indians. A major portion of them are Indians. They've taken over Canada. They all protect each other. They cover for each other. The Indian nurses cover for the Indian doctors. That's why even the Canadian news articles admitted that this hospital engaged in a cover-up. There's another news article. There's many news articles about this case. Finally, after they all came out after 20 years of this guy molesting patients, molesting little white girls. And many news articles even admit that the Canadian hospitals engaged in a cover-up. And they covered up for this guy. The Indian nurses covered up for him. The Indian nurses called the white women crazy. They called the little white girls crazy. The Indian doctors covered up for this guy. Even the Indian police covered up for their fellow Indian. And these people, they took over Canada. They've been destroying Canada. And they're gonna, next thing you know, they're gonna take over the United States. So I'll quickly read comments and then I'll probably wrap up the video live stream because okay, some of these comments clearly, like any people who come in here and defend this doctor, that's insane. Like, there's people actually coming in here and trying to defend the Indian doctor. Really? A doctor who sexually sedated his own patients, you're really trying to defend this Indian doctor? Are you for real? People coming in here? Forget people, it's probably fellow doctors. It's probably fellow doctors, fellow Indian doctors, fellow Indian nurses. See, they're always trying to defend their fellow Indian doctors. Wow, I'm not even gonna, no. And usually I'll read the comments out, but I'm not gonna read comments of people who are defending Indian doctors who molest their own patients. Indian Canadian doctors who are convicted of molesting little white girls. wow, I can't believe certain people, not all the comments were like saying stuff about that, but certain comments were, wow. So Canada is corrupt. All the videos are there. The video evidence is there. And let me say once again, there is a reason. There is a reason why Donald Trump was saying about making Canada the 51st state. Because conservative Canadians like me, for years, have been sending evidence, videos, news articles to the White House, urging the White House, asking, praying to God, praying to, if there is a God, praying to God, sending news articles, videos, evidence to the White House, asking, praying that the White House, Donald Trump, will finally, once and for all, arrest Canada, arrest the entire Canadian government, arrest the Indian Canadian doctors who molest little white girls on the operating table while they're sedated and unconscious. Arrest all these evil Canadians. Arrest the entire evil Canadian government, including the judges who defend and cover up for these Indian pedophile doctors who molest little white girls on the operating table in Canada.